Why are young men being criticized for turning their backs on society when the real issue is that society first turned their backs on young men? Why is it that I'm entitled for not wanting to work for 10 euros an hour, but companies aren't considered entitled for only paying 10 euros an hour when inflation has soared way beyond that? Why is it that society wants us to reproduce more, but makes the conditions for doing so literally impossible? Why is it that companies get to constantly verbally abuse employees, but when we clap back, we're the ones considered toxic? Why does society keep asking young people to get a job after they screwed up the economy and made it impossible for young people to get a job in the first place? You should move out of your parents' house and stop playing video games. Well, here's the problem. My parents' house that you want me to move out of only cost them $50,000 to buy. Compared to salaries back then, they only had to work 4 years to be able to afford a whole friggin' house. Today, that same house costs 10 times as much, while salaries aren't that much higher, relatively speaking. In fact, I would have to work 20 years to be able to afford the same house that my parents only had to work 2 years for. But hey, maybe if I wasn't so lazy, I could learn how to magically bend time, work 240 hours a day, and close this 20-year gap, right? So, yeah, it's easy for you to say just move out and get your own place when it was literally 10 times easier for you to do so. Society has always looked down on gamers as losers, so today, gamers strike back. Video games can hurt social maturity. Meanwhile, grown people are screaming and throwing tantrums when their sports team doesn't win every week. You'd have to be a nerd to memorize all the rules of football too, but you'll never be considered one. My mom used to blame so many of my problems on video games, and I eventually just flat out told her, "You can't blame my hobby of video games on my poor mental health when I'm pushed to the limit everywhere else." Normies. Video games are a waste of time. Also, normies. Did you see what Hot Dog Lip Lady said to Hot Dog Lip Lady 2 on Celebrity Bachelor Wife Swap Island last night? As a gamer, I can confirm we deserve absolutely no respect, but that will not stop me. How can society ask us for good morals, but we were born in a society that values money over human life? Why should we vote when society isn't run by the great standing of presidents and political parties, but rather big euros that politicians exchange for their impactful words and actions? Why should we be grateful to society when the same society is zombifying its citizens by pushing consumerism, creating individual bubbles that divide the public? If you haven't noticed, Earth is just a playbox for the most evil minds of this Earth. Let me ask you, are we not more than that? How come we're supposed to suck it up and let the damage done from previous generations keep hurting us and the people we love? Why is it that some bald billionaire can keep paying his workers less despite growing profits? Change can't happen while the majority are clueless to what's happening. It's our job to shed light and fight this. Gamers are destroying the economy? That's what this economist thinks. Watch as he gets gloriously destroyed in the comments. The slaves are unmotivated to keep working. Slave owners baffled. What do you mean, LOL? Video games are one of the reasons I keep working. They don't fall out of the sky. I pay for them. Yes, it's only men who aren't working. Definitely only men. They're one of those same people who welcome women staying home pumping out kids as if it's their only purpose in life. Didn't the Fed say we need unemployment to reduce inflation? Isn't it a good thing if people are leaving the workforce? Even NPC tasks are better than gig economy jobs. You should actually be extremely proud of yourself if you have no job and you're just staying home playing video games. You're actually making the world a better place. And here's how. The economy is totally screwed. It's impossible to find a job. Even if you find one, it's going to be a miserable, low-paying one. But wait, how did we get here? Right now, corporations have all the leverage while the average person has none. Since you have to work or you'll starve, companies know this. And as a result, they pay you low wages, yell at you, spit on you, disrespect you, and you have no choice but to just take it. The only way out of this situation is if enough people stand against this and refuse to work. Then companies would finally have to pay their workers a fair wage and treat them with basic human respect. So by playing video games and refusing to work, you are actually making the world a better place by saying no to these greedy corporate overlords. When young men play video games and refuse to work, society relentlessly criticizes them for being lazy. But there's a hilarious problem with their logic. Society is a massive hypocrite. There are tons of other groups of people who are lazy and don't want to work. But for some reason, society never has a problem with them. When women don't want to work and would rather just be a housewife, society is perfectly fine with this and even encourages this. When old men don't want to work and would rather just play golf or hang out at country clubs, society is perfectly fine with this. When middle-aged CEOs don't want to work and would rather just hang out on yachts all day while treating their employees like garbage, society worships them for being successful entrepreneurs. So, as you can see, society doesn't have a problem with people being lazy and not wanting to work. It's only young men who are expected to sacrifice their whole lives for a society that doesn't care about them. And that is pure BS. Anti-society gamer affirmations. I am allowed to spend time gaming and doing what I enjoy, even if it doesn't make money. I don't need to prove my worth to society, especially when this society itself has been worthless. I will not let society decide what success looks like, especially when this society has been nothing but an absolute failure itself. Minimum wage equals minimum effort. Quiet paying equals quiet quitting. I do not need to monetize my gaming or my other hobbies. It's enough to spend time doing what I enjoy. If the world doesn't owe me anything, I don't owe the world anything either. That includes my time and labor. I am worth so much more than being just another cheap labor machine for society.